है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में ये अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी, ये एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा, ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन ही नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Thank you so much, Kanika, for playing the inspirational video of Franchise India that truly depicts the kind of the mission we follow every day. Good afternoon, the entire team of Franchise India. Welcome to this special edition of Business Opportunity with Chai webinar series for you. This is a digital representation of the great business opportunity we are representing today. We have invited the leadership team of this brand to talk about the business proposal. They start their presentation to give you the correct and the complete understanding of the brand. Then we'll move towards a panel discussion. During our panel discussion, our panel member would love to take all your queries. We have created a question and answer box. So we request each one of you to share your feedback, suggestion, and queries in the same. We welcome management team of Franchise India, Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am, both as a team, leading the team of consultant who are day in, day out helping all the investors in getting the right business selections and suggestions from our side. The business opportunity which today we are representing for all of you is Bounce Infinity. It's a two-wheeler based mobility solution brand. Bounce was launched as India's first smart mobility solution with a mission of making daily commute quick, stress-free, and reliable. We have invited Mr. Garvit and his team to talk about more about this brand. Thank you so much, Garvit, for joining in today. But before I formally invite you with the presentation, I would like to invite Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am to host the webinar and address all our investors. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Archana, and welcome, friends, and welcome to this special webinar. This has been a series which we've been running for over now almost about 2 years. This is started when the last the COVID happened and the first lockdown happened. We started this series. And we are very proud that we are able to bring in every day a new opportunity. And today is a very, very special opportunity. Great company, a great founding team, great organization, and also a very strong product which they have brought in the market. So we thought that this is a very important time where we introduce this opportunity and we make this webinar today particularly very, very interactive. So if you have any questions, use the Q&A box, ask as many questions. Sonia and I would be part of the panel. And we'll take your questions and ask the panelists from the Bounce team relevant questions on that. So they are going to present about 3 different models. And before taking taking more time, I'll pass it on to Sonia. Sonia, your comments, and then we start the webinar.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome first and foremost all our panel members who've joined from Bounce, and also all the investors who have joined the webinar. And I know a lot of you are also watching live. So friends, welcome. And I see a lot of you still joining. And the entire team of Bounce, we have Ashokji, who's the zonal head. We have Also, Garviji, he's the corporate strategy lead. And we also have Kundanji, I see, who is heading the expansion, along with Mr. Nitin, who is the manager program. So, friend, this is an opportunity with the brand called Bounce Infinity, and Franchise India is very glad to have partnered with this company for their franchise expansion. And this also happens to be the very first company to achieve 10 lakh battery swaps, on its energy infrastructure network in India. I was reading recently, I think this was a very recent news about a week back, and they have not only pioneered, but they have also revolutionized the entire battery swapping ecosystem and have created India's largest swappable battery infrastructure. And as we speak and present this opportunity to all of you, they also remain one of the India's fastest growing startups. So without taking more time, I'll request if I can give it back to the team of Bounce to start the webinar. Over to you.
Over to you, Garvit.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maria and Ms. Sonia. So I would just like to quickly introduce the team members that we have on call. So first of all, Mr. Sachin, who is the Vice President, then Mr. Ashok, who is the Zonal Head, Mr. Nitin, who is the Senior Program Manager, Mr. Kundan, who is the Senior Manager for Expansion and Strategy, and me, Garvit, I handle the corporate strategy. So I do hope that all of you who have joined this webinar today are doing well and the family members are safe at home. So we'll just start with the presentation. And then if you have any doubts, as Mr. Maria mentioned, that we'll be happy to take it up post the presentation.
Yep. And I will request of everyone to also share in the Q&A box your profile and your city so that we understand where you're coming from. It will also be very relevant that we take questions and opportunity for specifically from your city if you are.
Yeah. So is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So throughout this presentation, I would like to take you through the journey that this company has taken so far, the products and the things that we are working on currently, and the expansion formats and the opportunities that we have for our investors and partners today. So a little about Bounce. We started as a company with luxury motorcycle rentals in 2014. But our co-founders quickly recognized that there was a need and a gap for the first mile and last mile commute solutions. Therefore, in 2016, they started Metro Bikes. Under Metro Bikes, we had bikes placed with different metro stations of Bangalore, where a person could take a bike, rent out a bike, commute, do his work, and then return the bike to the original station or any of the other partner stations where our executives were there. In 2018, we launched the dockless business. Under the dockless business, this allowed our users to take the bike from anywhere and park it anywhere. Therefore, there was no need for any exchange of keys to the bike. This dockless business allowed us to scale the transactions at our platform from 0 to 50K in less than 4 months. In 2019, we raised $100 million from our prominent investors across the globe and took the daily number of rides to over 100K and also crossed 25 million plus cumulative rides. In 2021, we acquired a company named 22 Motors Private Limited and therefore ventured into EV manufacturing. At the same time, with the objective of making battery swapping infra available across the country, we are on track to, we have already achieved around 800K swaps per day for 2021 and are on track to achieve somewhere around 1100K swaps. So talking about our investors, so we are marked by prominent investors like ACIL, Maverick Ventures, Qualcomm, Sequoia Capital, and B Capital Group. So where does our love for electric vehicles come from? First of all, the transition to electric mobility is a promising global strategy for decarbonizing the transport sector. It is important to note that every year, transport sector contributes somewhere around 23% of the total global for greenhouse gases that are emitted. At the same time, it is disheartening to know that out of the most polluted 20 cities in the world, 14 are in our country. Also, at the same time, EVs fare far better than ICE vehicles when it comes to range of transport policy goals, including enhanced energy security and reduced reliance on crude oil. The last thing, the fuel price of running an EV can be as low as 10% of the fuel prices of ICE vehicles. So how does the policy framework look like in the current scenario? So India as a country has set a target to achieve at least 30% of the new vehicle sales to be electric by 2030. To support this target, the central government has also introduced the FAME2 subsidies, and also the state governments have come up with their own individual EV policies. At the same time, in the Union Budget of 2022 that was announced just last week, the Honorable Finance Minister proposed a battery swapping policy for EVs. Here is a snapshot of how the EV trends look in India. So if you see, in 2021, somewhere around 3,29,000 electric vehicles were sold in the country, representing a 168% increase in overall sales from 2020. This number of 3,29,000, around 48% of them were EV two-wheelers. So through this, it's pretty clear that the popularity of EVs is increasing with every passing day. But yes, the issue that EVs faces today are that EV adoption in India is increasing at an unprecedented rate, but EV users suffer from issues like range anxiety and low number of charging points. A person doesn't know that how far he'll go on his existing electric vehicles or where it is going to be the nearest charging point. The same issue has been highlighted by some of the prominent media houses and also consulting firms. Therefore, the solution that we have here at Bounce to counter the issues that the EV users face in today's times is the battery swapping tech that we have introduced. How battery swapping works and how this tech makes the journey easier, I would request the Franchise India team to play a video which shows how battery swapping works. Thanks, Kanika, for the video. So in the video, we just saw that an EV user was able to take his drained battery and replace it with a fully charged one in matter of less than 1 minute. So here we see that the battery is removable from the vehicle and therefore can be interchanged. How does the battery swapping is the way forward? So let me tell you that when we compare the cost of the EVs, so around 40% of the cost is made up because of the battery pack. When we allow the vehicle to sell without the battery, then we can reduce the upfront cost of purchasing an EV by 40%. At the same time, it reduces the dependency on increasingly high voltage rapid charging stations that are being offered currently by the other OEMs. The model helps reduce the downtime of charging a battery from 0 to 100, that is normally somewhere around 3 to 4 hours, to less than a minute. At the same time, the space requirements and the cost involved in setting up a battery swapping stations is very less as compared to a charging station. Just to paint a picture, if we need to charge 5 vehicles simultaneously, then we'll need to park them along, and then that space will block for another 3 to 4 hours. But with battery swapping, I can cater to 5 vehicles in less than 5 minutes. This is the Bounce Infinity E1. Like as I mentioned, with our acquisition of 22 motors, we ventured into EV manufacturing as well. So this vehicle is specifically the features, the material used, and the manufacturing processes, they have been tailored to Indian roads. So, and because of the battery swapping tech in this vehicle, we have been able to reduce the upfront cost of purchasing an EV to rupees 36,099 rupees. At the same time, this comes with a 1.5 kV rated motor power, 48-volt battery pack, then 85 kilometers of certified range and 65 kilometers per hour of top speed, which makes it a high-speed vehicle. We do understand that the EV space is going through a massive change, and there are technologies and more efficient and cost-effective technologies coming every day. But the what to do about the number of ICE motors that are already on the road, and what that if a user is looking for an immediate solution. So for that as well, we have something in Bounce, which is the retrofit kits. With the use of retrofit kits, a person can come bring his existing ICE vehicles, and with the help of the retrofit kits, it can be converted to an EV. When the ICE vehicles become old, the maintenance cost and the pollution increase, but the mileage goes down. With retrofit, we can reverse that trend, and the cost is of a retrofit kit is somewhere around 25% of the cost of a new EV. At Bounce, we have retrofit kits for all the widely used models in the country, like Scooty Zest, Honda Activa, TVS Jupiter, Suzuki Access, Honda Dio. And we can have the retrofit kits for all the other brands as well. So now bringing to the expansion formats that we have on offer today. So as we mentioned, that Bounce is going on a retail journey direct to consumers with its Bounce Infinity E1. So therefore, for expansion, we'll be taking a auto dealership route, and therefore are open to partnering with individuals who have the resources, the right mindset, and are able to relate to the vision that we have here at Bounce. At the same time, we also have an opportunity for doing retrofit franchising. Converting an existing ICE vehicles to EVs is not only help in extending the life of the vehicle, but also save on fuel expenses. At the same time, all the individual states are also coming up with their retrofit policies under which they are incentivizing the users to convert their ICE vehicles to EVs through retrofitting. The last, as we saw in the video, are the swapping stations. So we are happy to partner and with individuals so that they can invest in this infrastructure of battery swapping as well as host the battery swapping network for Bounce. The cities that we are targeting right now are all the major tier 1 and metro cities that we have. So talking about how these three business expansion formats come together to make a complete EV ecosystem. So first of all, I would like to talk about Bounce. So here at Bounce, we currently have a fleet of 3,500 vehicles, dockless vehicles that are being used by our users. The same fleet runs on the same battery swapping infra that we saw in the video. At the same time, we have ventured into EV manufacturing and also launched the Bounce Infinity E1. In future, we'll be launching more models suited to the Indian use cases, both B2C and B2B. Those models will also be compatible with the battery swapping network, thus generating the demand for the same. Also, when a person retrofits his existing IC vehicle to EV, then he is again onboarded on our platform and is allowed to use the battery swapping network to unlock the infinite range. This is how at Bounce we are enabling a complete EV ecosystem. Now, talking about the financials involved in each of the expansion formats. So the first one is the auto dealership for Bounce Infinity. So we have 4 options ranging from D1 to D4 based on the area required for the showroom. Currently, as our focus is on the metros and the tier 1 cities, so our focus is more on the D3 and D4 version of the dealership. But as we expand and go to the phase 2 and phase 3 of our planning, so we'll be open to take applications for D1 and D2 scenarios as well. The kind of returns that any dealer can expect are somewhere around 6,000 to 6,500 per unit. That includes the dealer margin on the goods sold and also the service, depending upon the number of units sold. Also, an assured return of IRR 15% over 36 months on the battery swapping station investment, like that you will see as a component of the total investment. Also, the dealer will be able to earn rupees 10 rupees per swap or an exchange of battery that he executes on his location. The upfront cost that is mentioned in this EV dealership model includes the security deposits, which is fully refundable, and also the cost that will be incurred on setting up the service station. Moving forward to the battery swapping infra. So just to paint a picture, the battery swapping station that here we are referring to, that you also saw in the video, is a little bigger than the refrigerator that we have in our home. Therefore, effectively, any person is just using an ideal space to earn more money. The area required to host a station ranges from 10 to 15 square feet. The upfront investment involved is 3,70,000, in which we are referring to the cost of the station and 5 batteries. The expected returns range from somewhere around 11, which are assured, are 11 to 12% IRR over a period of 36 months. And also, for every swap or exchange of batteries that the host facilitates, he can earn an INR of 5 rupees plus tax per swap per location. The host location will need to meet certain conditions, but the electricity bill that comes for operating this charging stations or the battery swapping stations will be fully reimbursed by Bounce. Talking about the last opportunity that we have for you today is the retrofit, where we convert the existing ICE vehicles to Bounce to EVs. So the area required to have a retrofit facility is 350 square feet. The upfront investment, which involves purchasing of ramps, tooling, computer, involves somewhere around 9 lakh rupees, and the franchisee fee of 3,50,000 rupees. The expected return for every kit that the franchisee is able to sell is somewhere around 2,000 rupees. Also, a retrofit franchisee can even invest and host the battery swapping infra listed in the previous slide and enjoy the benefits from the same. So yes, this is all that we have at Bounce for you today. And I guess the floor is now open for discussion and questions that you might have.
Thank you. Thank you for a lovely presentation. And so let's start with some questions. And first, I think, the first question comes to mind that everybody knows that the EV space is becoming a very, very strong space, and a lot is happening, and a lot would happen, especially in India. And looking at India's vehicle population, I think it will become the biggest market. But we also understand there's a lot of competition coming in. There are about 300 OEMs which have come in, a lot of charging infrastructure which is coming, and so on and so forth. So how do you really feel Bounce is different to all the others which are available in the market? And where do you see yourself positioning, and what is the larger vision you have from a market share viewpoint, from a opportunity conversion viewpoint? What is the bigger vision for Bounce as a company?
Sure. Mr. Ashok, would you like to take this question?
Yeah, hi Gaurav. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning, Ashokji. We cannot hear you, Ashokji.
Yeah. Yes, Ashokji, you are not audible, Ravi.
I think we cannot hear Ashokji.
Ashokji, I'll request you to rejoin. I guess there is some issue with your audio. So I'll try to address the question that Mr. Maria has put up. So first of all,
Garvit, I'll take that.
sure, sir. Thanks.
This is Sachin. Hi. So sorry, I'm kind of driving in a car, so there might be some disturbance. So please excuse me for that.
No problem. We can hear you well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's a very valid question, right? I mean, the EV market is heating up, and then there are going to be a lot more players who will come, right? So this reminds me of the same situation that happened back about 6, 7, 8 years ago when there was a smartphone wave that began in India, right? So everyone who had a brand name had a smartphone of their own. And then what happened eventually is that people who had a long-term vision and who said, I understand the consumer much better than the other, stayed around and were able to carve out a pretty large space for themselves over a period of 6, 7 years. So the reason why we are confident about our whole product and our offering is that we bring about 17 crore kilometers worth of insights of consumers who ride two-wheelers in India. And I think this insight is something that none of the OEMs can boast of. And this is because of the incumbent, ride sharing or dockless scooter rental business that we have, right? So we are able to understand what are the actual needs of an Indian two-wheeler consumer and be able to build products accordingly. So what we've done with the Bounce Infinity E1 is that, so we've built a really sturdy, strong looking product, which is akin to a petrol scooter, so that, when a consumer who is owning an Activa today doesn't really feel a significant change, when he buys an Infinity E1. And at the same time, we've also balanced the whole smart features that is needed today, right? And we've also kept in mind the cost, because the minute you have to put a 12-inch tablet on the handle, the costs are going to go through the roof. So we said, how do we balance cost and features at the same time and still make it affordable? And hence, you see a scooter that's smart, and yet you have a lot of those features loaded onto an app and things like that. So we understand the Indian consumer well, and we are here for the long run. And Infinity E1 is the first product. We'll come up with more as we go along. And you can look at us, for a moniker, right? You can look at us as a OnePlus for in the smartphone space, right? I mean, that's the kind of positioning that we are looking to do in India.
Thank you very much. I think it's very well answered. If I try to summarize, they come with experience, a lot of experience on the ground, and they have been in the business for long. Second, I think they have made the affordability as a very big important question, because affordability and durability are two things which always stay in Indian roads. So people want very affordable product, and they want also the durability of the product, and also I think the spectrum of all three businesses which they have. Now we would like to go into a little depth of the financial model, because I think a lot of questions are coming on a financial model. And if we can go a little more in depth of all three models, and how you really switch it off, or what kind of a time contribution is required in all three businesses, which are the ideal locations which you need to really have that. But more importantly, I think if we can go on the model, because people are asking the difference between the four, D1, D2, D3, D4. So if we really can go back on the slide and try to give a little more insight on that, that would be very useful.
Sure, Mr. Maria. I'll just share the screen once, and then I'll request maybe Sachin or Ashok ji to take it further.
Yeah, this needs a little more explanation, because and how do you really define where is the right location, where is the 500, 800, 1000, 1500, and a little more in depth of
Yeah, so Garvit, maybe you can take the audience through the Excel model that we have, which basically talks about the space, the capital, and also what are the different kind of OPEX costs that keep kind of come up, right? Basically, it gives a sense of how the day-to-day operations are going to look like, apart from the capital outlay they need to put forth.
Sure, Sachin. Just give me a minute.
And friends, go out, use the Q&A box. A lot of you are asking questions, and others also I will encourage. Please ask questions, and we start taking your questions specifically on your markets. Any question comes to you on a financial model, business model, legal structure, the return. There is an MG component also in two formats. So what is that and how it is dimpers? Any question comes to your mind, please ask questions on Q&A box.
Yeah, so I hope that the screen is visible to everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So Mr. Maria, first of all, I would like to just mention that the categories that we have created, the D1, D2, D3, D4, they will be largely based upon the city that we are targeting. So like, as I mentioned in the presentation, like currently, if the target is the metro cities and the tier 1 cities, so we are looking at somewhere around the D3 or the D4 category. And these categories have been defined depending upon the size of the store. So for example, the D1 category will somewhere involve somewhere around a 500 square feet store, where a D4 category will involve somewhere around a 1500 square feet store. The cost breakup that we have is, first of all, definitely the cost that will be incurred on the store itself, that is the construction, designing, interiors. Then yes, we would like our dealers to host the battery swapping stations as well, because from a customer point of view as well, if a person is coming to buy a vehicle and then he is also able to see how the battery swapping stations operate, so that is where he will be able to see the value that we are trying to provide to the customer. So that is why we would again like our dealers
So
to
interrupt, the 12 lakh rupee which you're saying in the initial is a store interiors.
Yeah.
Tax. Okay, so friends, this is store interiors which would range from a 12 lakh rupees to about 35 lakh rupees depending on where you are putting up. And then you have a battery swapping station which is a 5 lakh kind of investment, 5,83,000, and in the bigger ones you have actually two setups. That's what you understand.
Yes, exactly. And then there is a refundable deposit or security deposit of 5 lakh rupees, which is also included in the initial outlay. And so therefore, this is how the initial outlay looks like for each of the categories. Talking about the service area, so somewhere around 300 square feet we hope to achieve, and that is where the service, the cost that we assume is going to be incurred on setting up the service area. And therefore, these are how the investments, the upfront investment, which includes all the above the cost that we discussed, and also the service area, and also the working capital that we estimate that will be needed to operate these showrooms.
And this working capital, I understand, is a stock you carry.
It includes the stock also, as well as the salaries of the employees.
That's very helpful. So friends, if you have any questions, Sonia, keep seeing that. If you have any question, we'll take on financial right away, so we can really clarify financials here.
Yeah, and once we have some specific interest, depending upon the model or the expansion format that the person is interested in, we'll be happy to share the financials, the sheet in more detail, so that even they can take a look at it and maybe form their own assumptions on that.
And I think 2-3 questions which we can answer, because staying on the same slide that we are. One is the breakup of the working capital, because you mentioned some part of that is towards the expenses and some part of that is towards the stock. So that is the question which I'm seeing. And also there's a question on the security deposit. So what is that security deposit against?
So I guess Ashokji will be able to answer that question better.
Hi, good morning. In fact, good afternoon. This security deposit is a normal process, which is every company has it, and we take it as it's a refundable money which is being given, even in case of any later on, if somebody doesn't want to continue with this is one thing which we refunded, and that's the way that we take it. But that's this what it is more or less like.
Okay, so and the stock investment is over and above. Is that right?
Stock investment is it all depends on which city are we talking about. Is it a tier 2, tier 3 cities which is there? As per that, we are taking the stock investment.
All right, Ashokji.
How much the stock ratios you would like to maintain at every store, say 500 to say 1500? What is the stock ratios?
So 500 and 1000, if I have to be very clear on that side, 500 and 800 are the show windows which are probably in the uh, busy area of any town. Say, for example, Delhi, if I have to say, opening up an outlet in CP, which shall I'm okay with 500 to 800 square feet of an area, but opening out in somewhere in Meerut or Dehradun, 1000 and 1500 is one. But the classification of tier one and tier two states between Delhi and Meerut or probably Dehradun would have a different approach altogether. So overall, if I have to say, 30 days stock or their retail is what we're going to keep it over a period of a time.
Sure, very helpful. And actually, incidentally, there is a gentleman, Mr. Garg from Merit itself, who's interested to take in Merit. So Mr. Garg, we'll come back to you. Now, let's get on to the next question in terms of help of demand generation, because a lot of times, and we're seeing that a lot of showrooms are mushrooming everywhere. What is the kind of support you would provide to any franchisee to initial days to create demand generation? Because the brand would be relatively new to the market. Say you open up in Merit, the first 4 or 5 months in terms of the penetration or populating the vehicle, it requires a lot of effort. So any kind of strategy you have from a larger brand launch or a marketing or demand generation?
So at this marketing wise, I'll bifurcate into two side of it. One is on a company end, another is at my channel partner who will be parting with, who will be with me. So in terms of as a brand, we shall be surely would be doing both ATL as well as BTL activities. That ATL, if I have to say, it'll be more of digital, more of towards going on newspaper, hoardings, and probably on TV channels also in the near future. And in case of my channel partner also, there shall be an BTL activity which we will do jointly along with us to promote a brand, be it in terms of product launch in their city, or be it in terms of digital marketing, or be it in terms of some campaign which we have to run in the city to make this brand popular across that city.
Thank you. I think that's also helpful. So any questions other than that on marketing, friends, go and ask in a Q&A box. I'd get into the next question. Now it's actually about returns. That's very, very important because capital deployment is one part of it. But what is the forecast of all three businesses? And if you want to really give a little more understanding on that, and especially on the margin play on the sales of vehicle.
So in terms of margins on product, if I have to say, direct or indirect, it is close to 10 to 12%, which is there on a product. And in terms of return on investment, I have to say, any automobile business which we do, it takes quite some time to move ahead in it in order to break the break-even part of it. Probably first year it'll be slow, steady. Second year is where it shall be in a break-even situation as per his investment. And third years onwards, we see a profitability started coming into his business line, whoever is associated with us.
Very helpful again, because that's what we've been telling everybody, that EV is a great business and it's a very futuristic business. But the first year or year and a half can have a lot of gestation because the life cycle and the conversion cycle is taking a lot of time. So one has to really come with a long-term viewpoint if you are coming in. But it is great to start in your city, because as this starts churning up and everything starts maybe digital and a lot of push is coming from a government also, this business would become a very, very serious business in coming years. So my next question is on the other two formats. You know, we have a retrofit format and we have only a business model for our charging stations. So you would like to give a little overview about how this operations of that business would run?
Yeah, I'll take that question. So, I mean, see, retrofit is very similar to how you run a multi-brand workshop. Okay, I mean, it's a workshop. The investment is low compared to setting up a dealership, but the margins are very good. At least, I mean, broadly, you're talking about 8% or so is the margin on each kit that you make, right? And I mean, let's look at the opportunity, right? I mean, I recently made a representation to the government And I was saying that even if the the sale of new EV two-wheelers grows at a CAGR of for a compounded annual growth rate of about 30-40% every year for the next 5 years, the total EV population at the end of the fifth year compared to the total two-wheeler population is not going to be more than 3 to 4%, right? And at the same time, if you are able to retrofit existing petrol scooters and convert it to electric in a large scale, there is a potential that you can hit about 15 to 18% in the same time frame. And the reason I say that is because it's the innate nature of the IC engine product itself, right? I mean, if you look at a petrol scooter, with every year that you own, the cost of maintenance keeps going up, the mileage keeps coming down, and the pollution keeps going up. I mean, this is the innate nature of the product itself. And the minute you are going to arrest that situation and it to electric, right? The whole situation changes to your cost of maintenance comes down, your mileage goes up, and the pollution comes down, right? So the opportunity is huge because I mean in India, if you look at the last like say 8-9 years put together, there are 100 million electric two-wheeler, I mean say petrol two-wheelers that are units in operation in India. Even if you assume there is a 50% of that as scooters, that's about 50 million vehicles waiting to be converted to electric. So that's how big the opportunity is, and these vehicles go deep down into the Indian subcontinent, right? I mean, it goes from cities to towns to villages. So the opportunity is enormous. However, like say, it's a great business. I mean, so I kind of lead that internally as well. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah,
because I
absolutely.
believe
And
it
I
has
think,
a
yeah, I also
potential.
I also second you because that business model is extremely exciting because the conversion itself would become a very serious opportunity, and it will become very fast, and that's a good model. And there somebody asked that what is the investment in this model. If I understand right, it was 9 lakh rupees. You can correct me.
That's correct.
So you want to quickly give a breakup of 9 lakh also? How does that breakup works?
Yeah, I mean, so 9 lakhs is the initial investment. So when I say 9 lakhs, I mean it's the cost of tools, scissor lifts, ramps, like say racks and bins. It's basically the cost that takes for you to set up a 5-bay workshop, right? That's the total cost. It includes computers, it includes some special tools, and so on and so forth. I mean, this is and there is some CI element. It won't be significantly higher. I mean, we want to. These are franchises that we want to brand as Zoink Retrofit. So there'll be some CI elements that will come in, but it'll not be on the expensive side. And this I mean 9 lakh includes like say a large part of it would be in the infrastructure around tools and ramps and scissor lifts, etc.
Okay, that's very helpful. So the 5 bays they would have, and this is a full setup which you do as like a typical two-wheeler service station.
Yeah, and we'll take care of the training and onboarding, and the entire consumer journey will be online. There'll be a DMS that will be operated at the back end. So it will not be more of a over-the-counter kind of business, but it'll be like a very well-oiled engine in terms of generating leads and then following through, registering the customer. All of this happens online.
Very strong business model. And if you want to start a retrofit franchise in your city, which I think is a very serious opportunity, go out and write on the Q&A box. And friends, I see a lot of people asking for particular cities where they want franchise. There is a business hotline number which Franchise India runs. It's called 971-76-83838. Send a WhatsApp and we will start fixing up your appointments with the team there for your one-on-one discussion. A lot of people have a lot of questions, and we have got phenomenal questions coming in. Thank you very much for that. But I think we will not be able to answer all the questions. But every single serious inquiry would be well managed. That's our assurance. So use this number and send a WhatsApp on our business hotline number. And Archana, if you can just put the business hotline number on the chat box so everybody can note. So now you want to start picking up questions because there are a lot of questions. I think we have about 115 questions still to be answered.
So, friends, I see a lot of questions I was reading, while we were also answering, and I would say we'll take up all these questions also one-to-one, because a lot of you looking at even connecting and you've shared your details that you want to come on one-to-one discussions. We have a discovery day that we're keeping in the coming week, and our regional teams will connect with all of you to take time out from the leadership team of Bounce and share all the queries. But very quickly, if I was just noting some of the common questions, and one is, on the charges that we have, one on the vehicle, what is the cost of the vehicle, one typical margins a franchisee would have on that, and second, what are we charging for the kit, when it comes to retrofitting, and yes, and also for the swapping.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so the prices that we've kind of launched today is at 26,999 just for the conversion. So when I say 26,999 for conversion, it includes the cost of the kit and the installation. So this is the cost. So there are subsidies that state governments will start announcing shortly. Karnataka has released a draft wherein they're saying each retrofit kit will have a a subsidy of about 5,000 just for the kit. So that brings the cost down significantly. And what we also do is, if you have an old scooter and then you don't want to keep the engine, so you can trade that engine in with us, and depending on the condition, we give you a discount of anywhere between 2,500 to 3,000 on that. So that reduces the cost even further. And we have like say banking partners who are willing to offer an EMI on the whole installation cost that exists here. So that's about the installation. And as far as the energy needs are concerned, there are two models, right? So one is you can like say use our swapping network, which is you pay per swap, and you keep swapping through the network. So we provide you an app, and just like how you fill petrol, you can walk into a swapping station, scan a QR code, put in your drain battery, pick up a fully charged one, and you can keep going. So each charge will give you about 60 to 65 kilometers of range, and you'll have a swapping station within about 2 kilometers radius from anywhere in the city. So that's one. The second important, energy option is that we allow you to rent the battery and the charger, right? So what we do is we charge you anywhere between 1,300 to 1,500 depending on the plan that you choose, and we give you a battery and a charger for you to charge at home, so you can charge any number of times and ride any number of kilometers. That's up to you, but there is a monthly rental cost that associated with it. So yeah, so these are the two models on energy, and also the costing structure for the conversion.
And how about, the cost of the vehicle and typical margins a franchise partner would have on that? And what do we charge for battery swapping?
Yeah, so each swap will cost you anywhere between 75 to 85 rupees depending on the city. And for a subscription for a rental of the battery and charger, it will cost you anywhere between 1,300 to 1,500.
That's helpful.
Per month. Yeah.
I also see another, question, which is also on the geography. When we appoint a dealership or a partner in the city, how many, for an example, maybe in a city like Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay, and is there a geography or a radius that we give to a franchise partner? Because we see 4 models here. So we have some, geography which is defined and given exclusive to the partner to manage.
Yes, we have that geography in there in place. Like in case of Delhi, you have mentioned, Delhi is divided into 5 zones: north, south, east, west, and central. Accordingly, every city which is town, tier 1 and metropolitan city shall surely have a similar classification for as per the city.
Right, and I'll also take a question from Mr. Sankar Ajay. Sankarji, I don't know what city, but he wants to know if there's also a warranty after sale service that we offer to the clients for retrofitment works.
Yes, we do. So the company gives you a warranty of like say 3 years or 40,000 kilometers on the kit and the installation.
And another question which I see coming from many is also on the compatibility of these batteries, in all two-wheelers.
Yeah, so the batteries are standardized. That's the whole objective of building an ecosystem, right? Wherein the same batteries are basically used across all the products that we have, and that's the beauty of it. So the batteries are standardized. So every swapping station you go to, you'll find a standard battery that will work with your scooter. So there is no challenge there.
All right. And, while we did talk on, where we want to expand, and because I'm seeing a very diverse response in terms of geographies where people have joined in, including, a lot of cities like even Vijayawada, Vellore, Meerut, Rewa, Meghalaya, Bhubaneswar. So a lot of cities I'm seeing response coming in. Would all these locations be open in the very first phase for us to consider and move forward?
Yeah, for even both the products, right? I mean, for Infinity, we are currently going after the top 10 cities. That doesn't mean we are not looking at the remaining 40 of the top 50 cities. We are pursuing at the same time. It's just that the focus currently is on building in the top 10 cities. But we are open to applications from cities like Meerut as well. I mean, we are talking to. I mean, we're open to talk to dealers in Meerut, Agra, or any of the tier 2 cities in a state. We are absolutely open to talk because so we have a very aggressive plan in terms of expansion in terms of distribution, so we are absolutely open and on the retrofit front as well, right? I mean, so like I said, the number of scooters are spread across the length and breadth of the country, so I'm open to looking at tier 1 as well as tier 2 cities.
Right. It's very helpful. And one question, maybe I'll take them many questions. Friends, we cannot cover all, but Garvit, if you can see any question which you think you would like to take up, do let us know. And if we can take a question, because we talk about 3 models here, and if we can also understand, typically what kind of number of services or sales would it require for somebody to break even and start making money, and how long does it take? It takes 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So how long typically the gestation time for all these 3 formats?
So this,
Garvit or Ashok,
yeah.
you want to take that?
Yeah, I think that Ashok ji left the meeting. Okay. So yeah, so if we talk about the dealership first, so as Ashok ji also mentioned previously that the first year is yes going to be slow, but yes, if we are on track for the projected sales and everything goes as per plan, then yes, in the second year we'll be profitable when it comes to the dealership. Then for the retrofit, yes, we do have some projections where any franchisee should be profitable somewhere around month 21 and month 22. And when I talk about month 1, month 21 or month 22, we are talking about the whole franchisee fee as well as the upfront investment. Like we have been considering that as a part of month 1 outlay, and month 21 they will be profitable. If we amortize that upfront investment over a period of time, then he will be profitable even sooner than that. Now, talking about the last format that we have, that is the battery swapping station. So there, the first thing that we need to understand is that because the investment of 3,70,000 that any person will be making on the battery swapping station as well as the 5 batteries. So there is a assured return that is associated with it. So that is not something that a person needs to worry about. And then there is only a 15,000 rupees fee per location. In any particular location, he can go for maybe 1 station or second, and depending upon the number of stations and the battery that he'll be having, he'll be earning. So in terms of the upfront investment kind of thing, so there are assured returns, so no need to worry. And 15,000 is a very nominal amount which he'll be able to easily cover in the first year itself.
And I'll take, one question from Mr. Shakti Gandhiji on the locations, especially on the battery swapping units, centers that we would place. What are the kind of potential location spots for this?
So Vinay, if you are there on the call and you would like to take that question. No issues. So I'll try to address it. So first of all, battery swapping stations, when we talk about, so it is the same as in a way, a petrol pump. So they need to be easily accessible. We would always prefer it to be somewhere in a marketplace, maybe a person who has a restaurant or a bank ATM, bank branches, and where outside vacant place, because the area required for a battery swapping station is around 10 square feet, which is not much. So it can be placed anywhere if the location is quite accessible from it. And yes, we have Vinay as well. So Vinay, would you like to add to it?
Yeah, hey, thanks, Garvit. So for the swapping infrastructure, what we have decided, we will plan infrastructure in such a way that every 2.5 kilometers would be covered. We will place it to an accessible place where any two-wheeler will come. They can just lift up the 13 kgs batteries and get it swapped within, you can say, the fraction of minutes. Per city, when we say it's around, we will start from the 150 to 500, then we will range it to the 1,000, 1,500 plus infrastructure for entire cities. And we are planning in such a ways, we will start with the zone wise, and we will expand to the entire cities. Apart from Garvit, anything else if I missed?
I guess we have answered the question. If Miss Sonia has anything to add to it, yeah.
Wait, maybe I'll request Gaurav if you want to take any questions. There are many friends and I'll request we have a discovery day. Ashna, if you can put the date and maybe we can announce when we close.
Friends, this is very important. 17th and 18th of February, we are hosting a Discovery Day. Discovery Day is something which Franchise India has been working for last 20 years. This is a day where you have your questions and you are answered by the company panel, where they would answer all your questions what you have. It can be specific to the opportunity, it can be specific to the return on investment, it can be also specific to your market, because every market would also be unique. So book your slot for the 17th and 18th. Bring your questions, right questions. Also consult with our team. Our consultants are available across India in 95 plus cities. Consult with them, develop right questions for you. You have to bring in all your queries in the discussion, and a team at Bounce would be able to answer all your questions. And once you are convinced, then you can go ahead and sign any of the formats which you want to do that. So it's a very interesting opportunity. On one side, you have a swapping station, which is a low cost opportunity and comes with a fixed return. A lot of people want a fixed return product, and this is a fixed return product. And there's and then you have a Retrofit, which is a service franchise. I think a huge opportunity next 3 to 4 years would be a phenomenal opportunity. Every vehicle which is there would have to convert. So this would be a very, very strong opportunity. And then you have full dealership model again into 4 different formats of investment. So it's a very interesting business opportunity we brought in. Garvit, if you want to really give a little, because we have come down to the end of the webinar, while the questions are so many, and I feel really bad because we will not be able to take all the questions, but we will reach out to every single member, because very interactive audience. So any last comments, anybody from the Bounce team you want to give, and also share a larger piece. What is the market share you're looking at? What is the next action? And also they have Hrithik Roshan as a brand ambassador. And if you've not seen the videos and everything, they have picked up the best, celebrity in the current time. So they're creating a lot of visibility for the brand. And so anything on the brand ambassador, anything on the market share or expansion you want to share as a last comments?
So as a last comment, I'll just like to first of all thank the Franchise India team, Mr. Maria, Miss Sonia, and also Archana for helping us organize this event, and also my team members also for taking out the time to address the questions that the audience had. So as the last comment, I'll just like to say that we do understand that there are 3 expansion formats in offer, and it might be confusing for some of the people to understand the investments involved or the returns that they can expect. So we'll be happy to take it up on a one-to-one basis if once we know that which kind of expansion format is a lead interested in. So maybe we can have a detailed discussion. Happy to share all the commercials and each and everything that we already have the models in place. Also on the part when it comes to generating demand and marketing, so we'll be providing all types of support, be it online marketing and offline marketing. So yes, so there will be support from our side to generate demand and facilitate any support that our partners might need. So if anyone else from my team, Sachin, Ashok, Nitin, Kundan, Vinay, if you would like to add something, yeah.
So few more questions. What I'd seen on the list is about can the battery be used with other OEMs as well? So I'd answered a few of them, but I think I left out a lot of questions like that. So we are working with other OEMs as well, and we are trying to commonize the battery so that there is more demand. And as a lot of questions are there about the supply as well, because of the lithium prices. I think we have a very educated bunch of people attending this, so well-read people. So the point is, with commonization, actually we are trying to ensure the supply as well, so that the battery is in circulation and it's being used more. That is the way in which we are going.
So in terms of the numbers that we have forecasted for each of the business models, so we have already placed the orders for the raw materials and the batteries, just to ensure that yes, there is a steady supply whenever the demand is there.
Absolutely. Great. So any other comments? Ashokji, if you want to have any comments from your side?
So it's like, I'll just put it in one simple sentences. We are here to win not only the EV sectors also, but to win the people and the customer all around us. That's the way that we take it.
Excellent.
Infinite range, infinite people.
Excellent. That's obviously, that's a way organization should look at, and the larger purpose to solve and actually create a last mile consumer delight. And that's something which you're trying to do. So thank you very much for being part of this webinar. And friends, I really thank you for very encouraging response for participating in this webinar. And logically, if you want to go to the next step, you need to really reach out to our teams very fast, right on our business hotline number. And we will set up your appointment on 17th and 18th, where we're hosting a discovery day. Don't miss your slots, block your slot. A team from Bounce would be there, and they would really answer all your questions. And even if you want to visit them in the headquarters, see the whole business, meet the leadership team, all that is available for you to build your confidence and participate. So over to you, Sonia, for your last comments, and pass it on to Archana.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all our friends who have joined in. And friends, I'd like to also ensure that all your questions, queries would be answered. And since we have paucity of time, we cannot take all your questions in depth, and all your requests for even connecting with the team of Bounce is something our teams at all offices across India would take up. And starting, I think just immediately after the webinar, the next 1 hour, you will all start hearing from the team of Franchise India. And 2 days, I'll request all of you, if you're available for a meeting, we'll arrange a face-to-face meeting. In case you are at distant locations, we'll take all these discussions preferably over a Zoom. And I'll request all of you friends, if you when you reach out to us, you share a little bit about yourself, your profile. If you have a property, some kind of complementing a business, all that information would be very helpful. And you have your all set of questions, ready. And before we get you on the call, we'll also, our teams will ensure they also answer most of the questions, so that our time with the team of Bounce can be very, very productive. And I thank the entire team of Bounce for being with us for the last 1 hour. And thank you once again, friends. And before I close, I'll request now Archana to kindly take it over for the closing remarks.
So team Bounce Infinity, it was our privilege to present you today to all our investors through the webinar series. We would like to really thank you for your active participation. Thank you so much, Gaurav sir. Thank you so much, Sonia ma'am. All the dear participants for joining in today. Please connect with us at our business hotline number, which is 9717683838. Write to us at feedback@franchiseindia.in. Do share your valuable suggestion and feedback with us at different social handles, because that will help us in improving our process. And in case you wish to understand more about business opportunities, how you can become an associate with us, different association, please connect Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am at their LinkedIn IDs. And on Sunday, we would wish you to join us for our Bharat Franchise Show. This is a specific webinar designed for all of you, where you have chance to interact 8 different exclusive brands which are there to present their business model with you. It's a 2-hour digital webinar for you. So please do registration today itself with us. Registration can be done either by joining us at the Facebook page, where we have a registration link, or connect with us, write to us at our business hotline number. Thank you once again for joining in today. Stay safe, stay happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.